Hello everybody, my name is Marlo and in this video I'm going to show you how to build an ultimate castle survival base. This formidable fortress has just about everything you could need to survive in Minecraft. There is a central storage room complete with a bed and some other utility blocks. In the courtyard we have a couple of animal pens and crop gardens, and in the four corner towers we have an enchanting setup, some furnaces for smelting, a brewing area plus nether portal, and lastly a spare room that can lead to possible expansion. And of course, it's very safe from mobs. You're going to be nice and secure inside of this base. This is usually the part of my tutorials where I go through the materials list with you all, but there are actually too many items for this build to do that. So instead, I have written it all out in the description. Every single item we are going to be using to make this castle is listed down below. I have rounded some of the main building blocks up to the nearest full, half or quarter stack, just so you don't run out of resources whilst constructing this. First things first, you need to find a location to build this in. The size of the castle is roughly 31 by 31 blocks, but you can see and count the exact layout here. And what we need to do is place an outward facing stone brick stair on the 8 orange blocks in the 4 corners, and all of the others can become full stone brick blocks. That gap at the bottom, as you may have guessed, is the entrance to the castle. Now that you've got your location picked and your castle shape is all laid out and ready to go, we're going to start work on the towers here. And we're just going to pick one of them. It doesn't matter which one because they're all identical. And we're going to start off by placing some blocks on top of these 4 corners right here. So on top of one of them, we want to go up by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then you can do that 3 more times. And once you've got that done, we can then come to the 2 stairs that we already have placed down, and on top of them we want 2 iron bars, and then 2 full blocks, and then 1, 2, and 3 iron bars, and then just another stone brick on top of it. And we of course can do that around here as well, so 2 iron bars, 2 stone bricks, 3 iron bars, and then another one on top. And basically either side of those iron bars we place down, we want to bring these 4 blocks up by a total of 8. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Level with the top stone brick. Now we can come round to the other 2 sides that are going to be connected to the walls, and what we want to do on top of these 2 blocks is bring them up by 8 once again, just so they're level with the blocks we've already placed down, making sure those corner ones are just an extra block above them. On this top block we want to have a full block with an upside down stone brick stair below it, then leave a gap of 3 and just place in another block here. These are going to serve as entrances to our walkways on top of and inside of the wall, and as you may have guessed, do the same for this side too. Now that we have all of the walls to our tower laid out, we're going to come to this block here on top of the line of 3 on all 4 sides and place in a slab with a chiseled stone brick on top of it with a stair on top of that one. We then want to have 2 upside down stairs either side with a full block on top of them, and on top of the full blocks we're going to have 2 slabs. We can of course do this 4 more times. Once you've got that done, we can then come to one of the 4 corners of our tower here, so just beside this largest pillar, and either side of it we're going to have 2 chiseled stone bricks with 2 stone brick walls on top of it, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 spruce fences on top of both of those with another stone brick wall on top, and then 2 stone brick stairs facing outwards like so. And then you can copy that 3 more times. I'm going to be saying that a lot in this tutorial. Now we're ready to step inside and actually head up to the top of the tower. So I'm going to get you to place some ladders on this corner block right here, the one that is facing in towards the castle, and just bring those ladders all the way up to the very top of this pillar right here. So that's 20 ladders in total. And then once you're up here on top, we want to start off by one of these chiseled blocks just next to the block beside it, and basically have a line of slabs going all the way across from one side to the other. Same again over here to make a plus shape, and then we're going to have 1, 2, 3, and then 4 more in the center here. And then we can switch over to some stone brick stairs, and on the ones just next to the ladder, we're simply just going to place 2 stairs like that. But on the other 4 corners, or 3 corners I should say, we're going to place a stair and then bend one round to the side. So it should curve round slightly just like that. So same again for this one over here, and then finally this corner as well. And once you've got all of those placed down, the final thing to do up here is to grab some lanterns. One can go on top of the ladder block, and the other can go on the opposite side over here. This will stop mob spawning on top of your tower. The final thing we're going to do with the towers for now is just hop down onto this ladder here and crouch so that you don't fall down any further, and then get out your stone brick slabs, and we're going to place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 underneath all of those blocks that we have from the floor above. And then finally what you can do is have another slab here in the center with a chain and a lantern hanging down from below. So the ceiling should look like this. And now what you can do is copy what we've done here for this tower 3 more times for the other 3 towers. Sometime later, you should have all 4 towers built up, ready to go. We're now going to start work on the walls, beginning with the entrance wall over here, which is slightly different to the other 3, but it's the same sort of pattern, so it should be easy enough. But we're going to grab some stone brick slabs, and on this outer wall here, so not this one, the one that's on the outer of the castle, we're going to place in a slab next to the tower, then a full block, then a slab, full block, slab, and full block, just like that. And then on top of all of those, we're going to have 2 full blocks, just like so, leaving us with some windows here which are actually eye height, so you can see out of them pretty nicely, which I think is pretty cool. But then we're going to come back round to the front here, and then 1 block above all of the slabs, we're going to place in an upside down stair, just like so. And on top of that, we can have a full stone brick, and then in between all of those full bricks, we can have an upside down stair once again, and on top of all of the full blocks, we're going to have ourselves a slab. So that right there is the wall pattern. Super duper simple. You can then copy that round to this side as well, and also round to the back too here. With one slight change for the back, we're not actually going to have the windows, so you basically just want to bring this up to be 4 high with only 4 blocks. So you should be left with this. And now what we're going to do before we start work on the entrance itself is just copy this wall pattern round to the other 3 sides. So it should look exactly the same, but obviously with this middle bit filled in and not left open for the entrance. It should meet up quite nicely in the middle, as you'll see when you build it. There we go, all 4 walls are now built up with the exception of the entrance over here, which will start in just a second, but just make sure your walls are looking the same as mine are here, which they most likely are. So let's head back round to the front and start on the entranceway to the castle here. So we're going to grab some stone bricks and place 4 on these spots right here. And then underneath them, we're going to have some stone brick walls, just like so, 3 underneath all of those, with 2 more in the center here, just to connect them up like that. And now we're going to copy over this top section of the wall, just across to the middle. So we're going to have a full block, then a stair, full block, stair, and full block, with slabs on top of all of those, and then upside down stairs, just like that. And of course, real quickly, we'll just copy it around to the back here as well. And then what we can actually do is just replace this middle block with a chiseled stone brick around the front and the back as well. Next up, we can actually go ahead and break the 2 stairs underneath those chiseled blocks, and in replace of them, we're going to have a stone brick stair next to that full block upside down, same again that side with a slab in the center. And of course, just do the same over on this side too. And then we can come back to the front here, and just above these 2 walls in the middle, we're going to have 1, 2, and 3 full blocks, just like that on either side, with 3 more in the center here. We can then grab 2 stone brick stairs and have them upside down in those 2 top corners. And then finally, we need to seal off the entrance here, making sure only players can get through, and we're just going to have 3 fence gates like that. The final thing to do with the walls here is to make this top bit look a little bit nicer. You are actually going to be able to access this and walk along it, so we need to make it look a little bit prettier. And the first thing we're going to do is fill in this middle section here with stone bricks. Of course, you're doing this with all 4 walls. The middle section at the front was slightly filled in, but obviously you just got to go all the way across with the other 3. So once you have a nice flat platform here, we're going to line the 2 sides with spruce slabs. And then we're going to line the center here with spruce trapdoors. Just make sure these are all facing the same way and you don't have the occasional one facing the side like that. Otherwise it kind of ruins the look a little bit. So make sure they're all in a straight line. And then when you get to the tower here, providing you've done that for the other 3 sides, we basically just want to have 2 slabs coming outwards and then 1 next to the ladders here. This way you can actually reach from wall to wall by going through the tower itself. There is actually one final thing we have to do with the walls here, and that's to come to the very center of them all and just break out this 3x3 area and have a slab in the middle with 2 upside down stairs either side, just to make this archway into the wall itself, which once again you are going to be able to traverse through to go room to room. I've already done it with the other 2 sides as well. So now we're going to start laying out the courtyard and the animal and crop farms. So we're going to start off with some spruce fences here on the back wall. And we're going to have a fence, then a fence gate, then another fence with a barrel just like that. Then we're going to have 1, 2, 3, and 4 fences with another barrel here. And then another 4 fences just like that with a final barrel, and then another fence gate, then a fence, then another fence here. And we just want to put a spruce trapdoor on top of all of those barrels. We can then copy that round to all 4 corners. It is slightly different at the front here, but I'll show you what's different afterwards. So at the front next to the entrance here, it looks like this. We have a gap in the wall, which you can actually fit through, so it would be fine, but it doesn't look particularly great. So all we're going to do is simply move these blocks back by 1. So the barrel will go here, fence gate in the middle, 2 fences either side, and then replace the spruce trapdoor on top. And one thing I'll quickly mention with the spruce trapdoors, try and make sure they're facing all the same way. So basically go around and making sure you're facing the same direction, place them all down just so you don't get an odd one on the side like that. Just keeps with the consistency and makes it look that little bit nicer. And yes, by the way, these barrels are meant to be functional. You can store some items inside of them, possibly some hose or some wheat to breed your animals, that sort of thing. Plus they're a very nice decorative block. But now we need to just grab some stripped spruce logs, and underneath all of these fences and fence gates, we just want some horizontal logs going all the way across. Just make sure you're actually doing it only underneath the gate and leaving these blocks in the pen open as grass, or whatever block you have. We may have to replace it with grass afterwards if you're not building in a biome like I am here. So if you are building in a biome that doesn't already have grass on the floor, go ahead and fill all of these in with grass blocks, or dirt would actually be fine unless you're planning on having some sheep in the animal pens, which are going this side opposite to the entrance. They of course need grass to replenish their wool, but we're going to be focusing on the crop farms to start off with here, which are on the side next to the entrance here. And what we basically want to do underneath all of these barrels here, just break away the block underneath them and replace it with a water source, and then cover the front of it back up like so. And as you can see here, that nicely hydrates all of the land in here, ready to have some crops planted on them. But before we plant any crops, we need to do something about this line of pixels next to the farmland here. Now obviously mine is quite bright and vibrant because it's concrete, but I think it's still going to look a little bit better if you just replace all of these with stone bricks. There we go. Only a tiny little detail, but I do think it definitely helps. Now you can go ahead and pick whichever seeds you would like to plant in them. I personally am going to do wheat seeds so I can breed the cows and sheep that we're going to be having in those pens over there, and also baked potatoes, or normal potatoes, so we can bake them and give ourselves a bit of a food source. And of course, at some point or another, you can fill these 2 pens up with some animals of your choosing. I'd recommend sheep so you can get access to wool, and cows so you can get access to leather, but really it's entirely up to you. Next up, we're going to start work on the storage room, which I guess would be the keep of the castle here. And what we need to do is have a strip spruce log 1 block away diagonally from this middle barrel here on all 4 of those corners. So we should end up with a square that has 7 blocks in between each of these pillars. And those all need to be brought up for 5 more blocks for a total of 6. So there's 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then what we want to do is just connect them horizontally at the top with a line of logs going all the way across from one side to the other. Then we can go ahead and grab some stone brick slabs and place 2 on these top pillars here, and then have a stair on top of it on both sides, and then basically just staircase our way up until these 2 eventually meet in the middle. So having a regular stair with an upside down one coming off the back, and eventually, as I said, they should come together at the top here, where you can just have a single upside down stair in the middle. So you should have this shape for the roof outline, which then can be copied round to the other 3 sides. As for filling in the rest of the roof, we're going to have a spruce trapdoor on top of all of these upside down stone brick stairs with 4 spruce slabs coming into the center, leaving us with a single block in the very middle, which can become another slab. So we should have a plus shape looking like this, and then we can move over and grab our spruce planks, and basically we just want to have these next to all of these stairs, just like so, and then you can connect them in the middle. So I have 1 here, 2 here, and then 3 on the top level. So it should look like this round the front. And then we can grab some spruce slabs, and in the center of all of these levels, we just want to have 1 of them tucked into the corner like so, with the exception of this top one, which is going to be a spruce trapdoor. So that's how one corner of the roof looks. You can then, well, I probably don't even need to say it, but just in case you're a bit confused, copy it round to the other 3 sides as well. So that is the roof all done. It should be looking like this from the top and like this from underneath, which we will come inside here and make it look a little bit better in just a little bit. But we got to work on the outside some more first of all. And the very first thing we're going to do here is actually grab some spruce fences, and we want to have one placed on each of these corner blocks, half a block under that slab with a chain underneath, and then underneath that we're going to have a lantern just to provide some light. So we want to do this for all 4 corners. Once we've got all of these placed down, we then want to step inside the building here and just place down 1, 2, and 3 strip spruce logs, just like that in the very center. And then from this middle block here, we want to bring it out on all 4 sides by 6 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, just so it pokes out by a single block here. And at the end of that, we want to have an oak button covering up the front with a chain and another lantern hanging down from below. And then, as I said, you can do that for the other 3 sides. So once again, if we just step inside here and look at the ceiling, we should have this plus shape with the strip spruce log. And now what we're going to do is come to the entranceway here and look up at this archway at the front of our central house. And what we're going to do is just come up here, probably with some scaffolding if you're in survival, and put a spruce plank on those 2 corner blocks with 2 strip spruce logs either side of it, and then have 3 coarse dirt in the center and cover that up with spruce trapdoors. This will become a flower bed, so go ahead and place 3 different flowers on top of the coarse dirt. But on the back of those blocks, we're going to have 3 upside down oak blocks, or oak stairs I should say, with 2 oak planks either side of it and a spruce fence in the middle, just like that. And then very finally we can head round to the front again here and have another upside down stone brick stair, just like that, to complete this little arch section. What you can do then is copy this round to the back of the build, just like I've done here. But the other 2 sides are going to be slightly different, but those are the same as each other, so I'll show you how to do one of them. We need to start off with an oak plank here in the corner, just like we did before with the spruce plank, and then once again 2 stripped spruce logs beside it, with 2 more in the middle here. We then want to have an oak plank at the top on those 2 spots, with an oak stair at the bottom here, followed by an oak trapdoor as some windows, and very finally just an oak fence gate opened up, looking as though it's holding up that pillar with our lantern on. So this can be copied round to this side as well. Once you got it copied round onto the other side, we can then do the underside of what we've just built here. So on the left and the right, not the front and the back, we're going to start off with a line of strip spruce logs, just to make these two sections on either side where we can have some upside down stone brick stairs. And then we're basically going to make a line of stone brick walls going all the way around, leaving 3 blocks in the middle to have some iron bars. And as you can see with the new wall mechanics, that smooths it out very nicely, adding that little bit of depth to the build. And as you may have guessed, you can copy it round to the other side too. I wonder how many times I've said something like that in this video. Round the back of the build here, we're going to have a line of strip spruce logs 1 block away from the outer pillar here. So it leaves us with a gap of 1, then a gap of 3, then another gap of 1. In the gap of 3, we're going to do exactly the same as what we've done on those two sides. So the upside down stairs along the bottom with the walls and the iron bars to make a window. As for the single sections here, we're going to start off with a chiseled stone brick with a stone brick stair on top of it, an upside down one underneath that log, and then 2 spruce fences in the middle here. And you can do the same for this side as well. As for the side round the front here, just as you walk through the castle entranceway, we're going to start off with a chiseled stone brick on the bottom block next to those pillars, and on the top one in the corner, we can have an upside down stone brick stair. Underneath that stair, we're going to have 3 full blocks connecting to the chiseled, and then 5 more across the top like so. And finally, 2 upside down stone brick stairs to make a nice little arch shape. And now we can grab our spruce planks, and just next to the chisel block, 1 in diagonally, we're going to have a line of 4 spruce planks going all the way up, 3 across the top with 2 spruce stairs just like that to make another arch shape. And then we can actually snag a spruce slab from up the top there and just place another one in the center here to make a slightly smaller arch, with a lantern can go in the center there to provide a little bit of extra light as well. So now we're ready to head inside of this building and work on the interior, and the first thing we're going to do is actually break those 2 spruce planks on the bottom and replace it with an upside down spruce stair so we can see half of the block here. And then we basically just want to get rid of all of the blocks that are on the floor, grass or stone, whatever it may be, in a square around the edge of the build, and fill it all in with some oak planks. Of course, you could use oak slabs if you want to save on some resources. But then we can go ahead and get rid of the rest of the blocks in the middle here. And grab some strip spruce logs, and on the corner blocks we're going to place 4 in each of them facing upright, and then to connect them all in the middle we're going to have some horizontally touching from one to the other. So we should be looking like this for right now where the floor is concerned. In the center here we're going to have some barrels, but we're actually going to place them in upside down. So what we need to do is just dig down by a couple of blocks here and then hop into this little area, place them all upside down. Of course you have to crouch if you're trying to place one on another barrel, and it may be wise to fill all of this in just to stop mob spawning. But as you can see, that is the underside of the barrel texture, which I think looks really nice and of course is still accessible. Now we need to do something about this ceiling because it doesn't look great. It's a big old mess at the moment. So we're going to grab some oak planks and place one in all of the 4 corners here just above the strip spruce log. We're also going to have a slab underneath all of those, and then we want to come to the side here where we already have the stairs placed in and just expand them outwards by 1 block either side. And then we're also going to have an extra block next to those oak planks on the other 2 sides, leaving 3 blocks in the middle, which we will place something on a little bit later. But just underneath, looking at the strip spruce log, we want to have 3 spruce trapdoors. Again, just make sure you can actually place a block on top of them and they're not up like that, otherwise you cannot place the block. On the 2 sides where we have these 2 oak trapdoors, we're going to start off by placing in 2 spruce planks just like that. In this block next to the trapdoor, we're going to have an upside down spruce stair facing into it, and then above the trapdoors we're going to have 2 more upside down stairs, so it should be looking like this. And then just to the side of those that we've already placed down, another 2 upside down stairs, and then finally just underneath those spruce trapdoors we're going to place in 2 slabs. So it should be looking like this, which then you, of course, as I've done here, nearly, there we go, you can copy it around to the other side too. So that should be what the ceiling is looking like at the moment. And then once you've got that done, you can actually come to this center block here in the middle, place a fence underneath it with a chain and then a lantern, and very finally finally, just next to that block, we're going to have 4 spruce slabs like so. Next up, we're going to grab a crafting table and put it in the center here, just underneath these iron bars, and then either side next to the stripped spruce logs, we're going to have a stone cutter and ender chest. And as for adding in all of our chests for storage, we're basically going to have 2 double chests next to all of these items here. So 2 next to the stone cutter, 2 next to the crafting bench, and 2 next to the ender chest. And we're actually going to bring them up so that they're 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 blocks high. But of course, if you don't need quite that much storage, you can maybe just do them by 1, 2, or possibly 3, but I've given you enough items in the materials list to go all the way up to 5 blocks. And of course, if you like to label your storage, you can go ahead and place some item frames on the front of all of these chests. I've just gone and placed them next to the center block here, so it's nice and symmetrical. But next up, just on all of these 4 corners, we're going to place a barrel with a spruce pressure plate on top of them. That's simply just to give you a little bit of extra storage, and will also stop mob spawning in the corners. It would be really bad to have a creeper blow up in your storage room. And then lastly, what we're going to do in here is actually just go up to these spruce trapdoors that we placed down earlier. And 3 of these, we're going to have a blast furnace, smoker, and regular furnace. Of course, we're going to have the furnace room in one of the towers, but this is always just quite handy to have on hand next to all of your items. And on the other side, we're going to have a loom, cartography table, and smithing table. The cartography table is directional, so you may find it's actually better to place it over the other side, so it's not just a blank block and you instead get a little bit of color. I'm actually going to do that. There is actually one last thing to do with this before we can call it quits, which is to place in our bed, and it's going to be going up here on this block, but we need to expand this a little bit because it's not quite large enough. So we're going to have a slab in the center with 2 upside down stairs either side, and then next to those stairs we're going to have 3 ladders so that you can actually climb up to the top here, and the bed is going to be going in the center just like that. And then if we just hop up on the foot of the bed and face either side and place in a spruce trapdoor, so you should be able to see it's in line with the stair. And then we're going to have 2 trapdoors on the front of those trapdoors with 1 more in front of the bed. Go ahead and flick all of those up, and as you can see, it makes a nice little area where you can sleep the night away. And one final finishing detail, if you would like to, just add a clock in an item frame above the bed. There are just a couple of things left for us to do before we can start work on the individual towers, and one of them is to add some more lanterns around here because it is awfully dark. And the first one is going to be going underneath this chiseled stone block just beside the entranceway here. And then for all of the corners, what we're actually going to do is just hop up on this barrel, and then the 2 stairs that are nearest to these spruce fences, so not these down here, 1 across, we're going to have some lanterns with some chains just above them hanging down. Of course, we can do this for all 4 corners. And that should provide a nice amount of light to all of the outside area. And now we can start placing some in the tunnels themselves. So the first one is going to go in the very center here. And these are just lanterns, not the chains as well. Otherwise you won't be able to fit through. So just a lantern in the center. And then the other 2 are going to go on the very end block here. And of course another one over here. And once again, we can do the same for all of the other tunnels. You may be wondering what to do with this tunnel because it obviously only leads halfway before hitting the entrance. We're still going to have the lantern on this block right here, but as you can see, this is actually a 7 light level, and this doesn't look particularly good. So basically all we're going to do is cover it up, and that will solve the problem of mobs being able to spawn and also get rid of that ugly looking wall. So you can do that for the other side too, of course. Once you got your lanterns down, the next thing to do is to make the floor look a little bit nicer, and simply all we're going to be doing is getting rid of all of these grass blocks here. So in all of the tunnels, in all of the towers, and in all of the outside area, we're going to be replacing it with oak planks or oak slabs again, as I said earlier, if you want to save on resources. But before you start placing them down, we're going to go ahead and get rid of these 3 blocks underneath the fence gates, as well as the 2 underneath the walls, and just line them with spruce stripped logs going across like that. And now you can go ahead, get rid of all the blocks on the floor and replace them with the oak planks. So there we go, the floor is nicely laid out with our oak planks. We're now ready to start working on the individual towers here, where we're going to be having our enchanting room, smelting room, brewing room with nether portal, and a spare room for expansion, and displaying some armor stands. So it doesn't matter which of the towers you pick for which room, it is entirely up to you. So the first room we're going to do is the enchanting area, so go ahead and pick whichever one you would like that to be. And in the corner here, in between these two iron bars, we're going to go ahead and break this bottom block and replace it with a bookshelf. We can then have 2 either side of it with 3 more here in an L shape. So we've got this at the moment, and then we're going to have 2 more here for a total of 15, which will give us 30 levels on the actual table here. And then just in front of the iron bars, we can have our anvil and our grindstone. And then on top of all of the bookshelves, just to make it look a little bit better and to stop mob spawning, we're going to cover it up with some oak planks. Simple as that. Enchanting room done. The next room is the furnace room, and I've just headed down the corridor to actually build this, and we're going to start off by having a smoker underneath the iron bar with a blast furnace either side of it, and then lastly 2 more smokers on those 2 blocks. And then we can grab our regular furnaces, and we're going to have 2 furnaces on top of all of the ones we already have placed down, with the exception of the smokers next to the iron bars, as I would like to leave them open for some windows. The next room is going to be for our brewing, and we're going to start off by having 4 barrels placed down either side of the iron bars here, and on top of all of those we can have 4 brewing stands. On one of them we're going to have our cauldron, but this doesn't actually serve that well as a water source. It's better to just have an infinite one down below. So we're going to dig down 3 blocks like I've just done there and replace all of the blocks on the wall with some of our stone bricks just like that, and then some oak planks on the floor like so. And then you can place 1 water source here and another one here, and this you can infinitely pick up. We are still going to place our cauldron down, mainly for looks, but as you can see we can just fill that up, and then if I just grab an empty water bucket here, you should still be able to reach underneath the cauldron and then fill it up whenever needs be. The other gap in between the barrels is going to be for our nether portal. So we're going to start off with a spruce trapdoor on this block and flip it upwards so we can actually access down here and dig down at 5 blocks. And then we're going to break these 5 blocks here and turn them into stone bricks, and we can actually go ahead and place a ladder on all of those so you can get back out of this chute. But we're also going to dig down on this block 1, 2 and 3 and just have an upside down barrel here just as some storage for everything that you could need before you go into the nether, maybe some fire resistance potions for example. But then we're going to go ahead and get rid of these blocks on the 2 sides and turn them all into oak planks just like so. And then we're going to dig out a 3x3 area, and this is where our nether portal is going to go. So we can go ahead and line all 3 sides with obsidian just like this. And then the back we should probably make look quite nice as well. So we'll have a chiseled stone brick in the middle and then just regular stone bricks all around it. And then finally, the last thing to do, of course, is to light the portal itself. For the last room here, we're going to start off with a spruce trapdoor underneath the 2 iron bars. Go ahead and flick them up. And then either side of it, we can have a stripped spruce log facing upwards. And then just beside those, we're going to have 2 single chests. And then we can place in our armor stands, but instead of having them facing forward, one very tiny thing you can do to make this look a little bit better is just place them diagonal. So face the corner of the block here and then place the armor stand itself. And of course you're going to need some armor to go on display here. What you choose is entirely up to you. 2 sets of netherite with elytra may be a little bit pricey for some survival players, but now you need to figure out how and if you want to expand your castle base here. So what I'd recommend doing, depending on what type of expansion you're looking to make, if you need to go really far down, I'd recommend using some bubble elevators, using the soul sand to very easily chuck you back up to the surface here. But if it's only a little bit ways down, maybe a ladder is a better option. If you're looking for ideas of what type of expansion you could make and you're not really sure what to do, I'd maybe recommend having this lead to an underground mine shaft where you can go digging for diamonds. And if that is the case, bubble elevators are probably the way forward, since you're going down to basically bedrock. But this section of the build really is entirely up to you. So that, everybody, is the survival castle base all done, with the exception of one final task, which I will tell you now is pretty time consuming, but I would say it's worth it. Basically, we're going to be adding in some texture to our castle here to make the general structure look a bit more interesting and a whole lot less plain than what it is right now. So the blocks we're going to be using to add texture to our castle here are crackstone bricks, cobblestone, andesite, and regular stone. And the way we're going to be placing them down is basically just sporadically every now and again. I'm thinking maybe I'm going to use the cobble and the cracked a little bit more than the stone and the andesite, so those will probably end up being a little bit more frequent. And of course, don't forget to do it for the walls and the stairs as well as the inside a little bit if you want to for this middle section. But something you can do real quick that I'll mention here is with the cobblestone, add it in every now and again as though it's kind of like had this crack in the wall, so keeping them partially connected in somewhat of a line, it kind of looks like a split or a fracture in the solid stone. Obviously mixing in the texture when you do that sort of thing, but there's just a little bit of a texture tip if you want to take it. Once you've got all of your texture added in, that is the castle survival base all done. I really hope you guys did enjoy this video and it helped you out. Of course, if you're choosing to build this in your own survival world, let me know down in the comments and maybe even send me some pictures over on Twitter or in my Discord server. Both of those links are down in the description. But thank you guys ever so much for watching. Again, I really hope it helped you out and I will see you next time. Bye for now.